Tensions explode in the South China Sea, a vessel clash that could redefine regional power dynamics. Imagine a vast ocean waterway, bustling with global trade, yet simmering with territorial disputes that have sparked clashes between nations. The latest incident between the Philippines and China isn't just a maritime spat. It's a flashpoint that raises urgent questions about sovereignty, safety, and the rules of the sea. But here's where it gets controversial. Who's really to blame when two superpowers accuse each other of aggression? Stick around as we break down the details, clarify the complexities, and explore why this matters to everyone from fishermen to world leaders. In a dramatic escalation on October 12, 2025, the Philippines and China exchanged heated accusations over a confrontation involving their Coast Guard vessels near disputed islands in the South China Sea. Picture this. A Philippine Coast Guard handout image shows a Chinese vessel labeled 21559 deploying a water cannon against the Filipino ship BRP Datu Pagbuaya, highlighting the intensity of the moment. This clash, as reported from Manila and Beijing by Reuters, underscores the fragile peace in this resource-rich region, where economic interests and national pride collide. From the Philippines' perspective, the situation unfolded as a direct threat to their sovereignty. According to Manila's Coast Guard, 3 of their vessels were peacefully anchored near Thitu Island, which locals call Pag-asa Island, as part of a protective program for Filipino fishermen who rely on these waters for their livelihoods. These fishermen often face challenges from foreign intrusions, so the government's presence is meant to ensure safety and access. But early that Sunday, Chinese maritime forces reportedly approached aggressively. They started by using water cannons to intimidate the Filipino ships, and then about an hour later, a Chinese Coast Guard vessel fired its water cannon straight at one Philippine boat before ramming it at the stern. Fortunately, the damage was minor and no one was hurt, but the Philippines labeled these actions a clear threat to their operations. And this is the part most people miss. The Philippines isn't backing down. Their authorities have pledged to keep up these protective missions, emphasizing that safeguarding fishermen's rights is non-negotiable. For beginners wondering about the broader context, the South China Sea is a sprawling body of water bordered by multiple countries, rich in fish stocks and potential oil reserves. It's not just about fishing. It's a lifeline for global commerce, with over $3 trillion worth of goods passing through annually via ship-borne trade routes. Disputes here can disrupt everything from your morning coffee, shipped from Asia, to electronics, manufactured in the region. But here's where it gets controversial. China tells a starkly different story, painting the Philippines as the aggressors. Beijing's Coast Guard claims that 2 Philippine government vessels illegally entered waters near Sandy Cay, a coral reef within the northern Thitu reefs in the Spratly Islands. They allege this led to a collision, and they hold Manila responsible, saying a Filipino ship dangerously approached a Chinese vessel. This narrative flips the script, suggesting the Philippines provoked the encounter in an area China considers its own. The Spratly Islands, where this drama unfolded, have been a hotspot for repeated confrontations between the Philippines and China over the years. Tensions have ramped up lately, especially around Scarborough Shoal and other contested spots. China asserts claim to nearly the entire South China Sea, a stance that rubs up against assertions from Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Vietnam, each staking out portions of this vital waterway. To put it simply for those new to this, think of it like a crowded neighborhood where neighbors dispute property lines. Here, international law, like the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, tries to mediate. But enforcement is tricky when nations interpret rules differently. Reporting on this incident was handled by a team including Fung Guen in Hanoi, Karen Lima in Manila, Selena Lee in Hong Kong, and Eduardo Baptista in Beijing, with editing by Raju Gopalakrishnan. As always, this coverage adheres to the Thomson Reuters trust principles, ensuring accuracy and impartiality. Now let's stir the pot a bit. Is China's expansive claim a fair interpretation of historical rights, or an overreach that that threatens smaller nations' freedoms? And does the Philippines' protective stance empower local fishermen or risk unnecessary escalation? What do you think? Should international bodies step in more forcefully, or is diplomacy the only way forward? Share your views in the comments. Do you side with the Philippines, China, or see a middle ground? Your thoughts could spark a vital conversation on global geopolitics.